Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And today is Tuesday, July 16th, and we have a full moon lunar eclipse today at 25 degrees of Capricorn. And so one of the things that I like to do is when we are looking at these eclipses is to see what's going on in the world, so to speak, or in the country, to get an idea of what the issues are and how they line up with the eclipse energy. And so I want to sort of do that. This is just like a little small instructive, I guess, video on that. And then I'm going to do a card reading on the issue that I bring up with this eclipse. And so here we have the eclipse right here. Hopefully you can see that. And this eclipse occurs at 5:38 p.m. on the East Coast. That's the time when the eclipse happens. Of course, we're not going to see it because in order to see a lunar eclipse, the moon has to be out, it has to be dark, and it's not dark at that time here on the East Coast or at all in America. I think you can see it in England though and Europe. And so if we look at it, okay, we can see that this is the sun in Cancer and the moon in Capricorn. And if you notice, there's a clump of planets both on the side of the moon and on the side of the sun. And the major ones, of course, are we have the moon conjunct Pluto, conjunct the south node, conjunct Saturn. Okay, the south node of the moon is always about releasing and letting go. It's where the energy has to go out, right? And then the north node of the moon, where the sun is, and here we actually have the sun, the north node, and Venus. And incidentally, Venus is almost exactly opposite Saturn and is connected to the nodes here. It's a wide conjunction, but it is still a conjunction. And of course, Venus is conjunct the north node, and Pluto and Saturn are conjunct the south node. And so we wouldn't have an eclipse if it wasn't happening around the nodes. And so the nodes are very important. The south node, as I said, is what we're supposed to release. The north node is what we're supposed to move towards. Now, in America, and I'm using America as an example for three reasons, I guess. Number one, that's where I live. Number two, both these eclipses, the one that occurred on the 2nd and the one that's occurring today, are activating the chart of the United States. And so that's important. And there's plenty of examples of this energy that's going on. And the major thing I want to bring up is Donald Trump's attack on the 4 progressive Democratic House members known as the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. And so we're talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York, Ilhan Omar from, it's either Wisconsin, I think it's Wisconsin, Rashid Tlaib from Michigan, and Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts, my state. So these are the four women, and so he said, if you don't like it here, go back to your, I don't know, country, I guess, except they're Americans. Go fix your problems in where you come from. So it's interesting that both Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Donald Trump come from New York City, but okay. So what we're seeing, okay, in terms of astrological stuff, is that Donald Trump and his administration is symbolized in the South Node in Capricorn, conjunct Pluto, conjunct Saturn. Okay, the oppressive, power over, patriarchal, white male in power dynamics. And then on the other side, we have the sun in Capricorn, which is about the law, or their version of the law, because it was really about the law. Donald Trump would not be president, right? And then on the other side, we have the Cancer side, which is the sun, which is illumination, the North Node, which is the direction forward, and Venus, which is the planet of love, in Cancer. Love for women and children, love for families, love for safety and security, making sure everybody has enough to eat and has a roof over their head and are comforted. Okay, that's what Cancer is about. Feeling our feelings. Capricorn tends to repress or suppress feelings. They put those feelings aside. And it was interesting, something that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said is that Trump cannot face the people he's putting into these camps. He cannot face the children. He cannot face the people that he's hurting. That face-to-face empathy would be Cancer. And what's interesting is he has Saturn and Venus in Cancer, conjunct though, so that Saturn sort of, he feels like he hasn't been loved. So if he hasn't been loved, then nobody else gets to be loved. I guess that's what he's trying to do. So what I want to do is I want to do a reading about this whole feud between them. I am concerned for these women's safety because of, it's a dog whistle, and it's as if he's calling his minions to make these women pay or go back to where they come from. All right, so let's see how this is going to work out. This is the feud between the 4 Congresswomen and Donald Trump. And of course, the eclipse requires us to move in the direction of the North Node. Now, the eclipse is square. There is an asteroid square the eclipse, and it's Pallas Athena in Libra. Incidentally, I believe this is within 2 degrees of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Sun or Mars. I can't remember off the top of my head. And so on some level, she's of course a focus of this. But the square of Pallas Athena to the nodes and to the eclipse is requiring us to look at the theme of social justice. When planets are square the nodes, you need to move through the resolution node, which would be the last node that moved over that point, the Libra point, and that would be the south node in Capricorn. The nodes of the moon have a backwards motion. You know, planets move from 0 to 30 degrees. Nodes move from 30 to 0 degrees. So because it's not a planet, it's actually a point, and it's geometry and all of that. And so so we need to go and look at the past and how it has disempowered us. And when we can see the past for its both its shadow and its need to be let go of, south node, then we can move to the North Node. So on some level, this is all supposed to happen. You know, now it doesn't necessarily supposed to happen exactly as it is, but that's the energy, and that's what's manifesting at this time. So let's see what the cards say. Okay, so we have the 3 of Pentacles. And so this is about people who are very good at what they do, working together. Some card readers see this as dark money, but I don't feel like this question is necessarily about that. Although I'm sure the dark money want to say, you know, let's get rid of these 4 women. So let's just see what continues. What's crossing that? Okay, burdens, a lot of burdens. So, okay, I'm going to just continue, and then I'll tell you what I think it all means, I think. Okay, at the root, the 7 of Pentacles, okay? In the past, the Ace of Pentacles reversed. In the sky, we have justice. Now remember, Pallas Athena is in Libra. Pallas Athena is social justice. Libra is justice, balance. Libra is ruled by Venus. The immediate future. Three of Pentacles. How it's seen from the outside. The King of Pentacles. Domestic situation. The Two of Pentacles reversed. Hopes and fears. The Emperor. Outcome. The Hermit. Four of Cups underneath. So this is how I see this reading. These are people working together, people who are very good at what they do, working diligently to build something that has a lasting foundation. That would seem to me to be the women. Although this card is connected with Capricorn. Second decan of Capricorn. And Saturn is in the second decan of Capricorn right now. And what's crossing it is the Ten of Wands. So many issues, being overwhelmed, too many irons in the fire. And then at the root, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So this seems to me as though overwhelmed by the things that he cannot do, or there's just too many things coming in at once. And the work hasn't been done. The groundwork is not finished. This is Trump. Right above him is, I believe this is Mueller's testimony that's coming down the pike, and it could also be Epstein, him nervous about Epstein. In the past, we have the Ace of Pentacles upside down. I heard somewhere that the Mercers pulled away from Trump. Is that possible? You can tell me. I think I heard that. So that could be also. So with all of this sort of like on top of him, and then you have women who are very good at what they're doing, might just be too much for the old misogynistic guy. Now, here we have in the future, we have somebody looking to foreign shores. I think Trump is looking for help from foreign shores, whether it's China or Russia or Saudi Arabia. Yeah. How it's seen from the outside is Trump. I think it's Trump being Trump, using his business. I wouldn't call it acumen, but his practices, right? His practices against his political opponents. The domestic situation is not good. This is about trying to balance, the books, so to speak, and with a lot of emotional tumult. And so I think there could be some negative, what's the word I'm looking for? Negative news about the economy that the president knows about. We might not know about it yet. Well, we know about it, right? But like what you hear on TV. Hopes and fears, he wants to keep his seat. And then we have the outcome, which is the Hermit, which is about isolation. And then this at the bottom of the deck. These are interesting cards because they're really mostly about Trump and not about these women. And so what I would say is that he's using these women as a target to create energy, right? To create energy. He's like a vampire who creates chaos and then he feeds off of it. But ultimately, he's isolated and alone. And so I don't think that this is going to work. Now, so this is what's coming up for that. I want to see if they're going to be safe. I want to see if these women are going to be safe, because that is a primary concern. As soon as I heard that he had done that, okay, I'm going to take the remaining cards and shuffle them again. Let's see if these women are going to be safe through this. Saturn opposite Venus, and then Pluto is going to be opposite Venus in a couple of days, or Venus is going to be opposite Pluto, I should say, because Venus moves faster. That will also be a significant time with this. And at the same time, you know, it's not just Trump and these women, but at the same time of this eclipse, we have Epstein in court, and his accusers are asking that he not be, not be allowed to wait before before his court date, before his trial. And it's the women who were powerless up to this point, having their voices heard in relation to Pluto, Capricorn, Saturn, very billionaires. I mean, Pluto makes billionaires, you know, and Pluto is also in Capricorn is the devil. You know, Capricorn is the devil card. So, where there's that kind of money, there's often that kind of debauchery because um, of just the energy. It's so dense. It's like you get caught in it. It's like an addiction. It becomes an addiction. And that's also something that's being asked to be released. Our addiction to this dream that, you know, everybody has the right to have unbelievable wealth, you know, as opposed to sharing the resources of the planet, which, of course, the North Node in Cancer would be about. Because anyone who knows a Cancer knows they want to feed everybody. Okay, so this is the women, and are they in danger? Okay, we have the King of Cups. Let's just leave that. Crossed by the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Cups. This is children. This is children. At the root, we have heartbreak. In the past, we have the Ace of Wands, new beginnings. In the sky, the King of Wands. In the immediate future, the Magician. That's good. Okay. How it's seen from the outside. Powerful women who've made their own way. Domestic situation, the Queen of Cups, wonderful. Hopes and fears, the crazies that believe everything Trump says. His soldiers, the tough guys that he purports to have, they're mostly just crazy, wounded. The outcome. Okay, we have the Judgment card upside down. I don't generally read upside down, but for some reason I have some upside down cards in this deck. If this was right side up, I would say that there's a little bit more danger because it would take something more extreme to wake people up. But people are semi-awake. And I think oftentimes things happen in situations like this because people are just resistant to seeing what is true or what is real or what they're being required to look at. And I think there's enough openness so that we don't have to have a complete disaster. There is heartbreak, though. But I do feel like it is around children. So, and then ultimately, we have the magician, meaning that I feel like the women have the power here. The women have the power. So, and this, interestingly enough, the immediate environment, the King of Cups, a lot of times this is Putin. I don't see Putin as, I guess he doesn't like powerful women either, but I feel like it has more to do with Trump's wounds. He has a 37-1 wound in his numerology chart, which is this card. It's about, that you have the king here, and he has a cup, but he's not looking in the cup. It also looks kind of empty. So this is somebody who's not willing to look at his feelings, or in the case of Trump, maybe too willing to look at his feelings. The thing is because it's a 1 and it's a shadow, one shadow can mean that you're totally narcissistic, right? It's all about you, or you're completely, you don't have any consideration for yourself. It's like it's always about the other person to the extreme. Either way, it's an extreme of the one. And so it's either too much concern with yourself or not enough concern with self. And so, and this crossing it, yeah, he's not. This also has to do with how America deals with children. We're a cancer country and we don't treat our children well. We don't want to, well, not us, okay? The powers that be don't want to feed them. They want them to be born, but they don't want to support them. They don't want to educate them. They don't want to give them health care. I don't exactly know what they think children are for, but yeah, so in response to the question, are these women safe? I think we need to be vigilant. I think we need to look at, really keep a strong sort of tether on this, and stay awake and stay aware. And I think if we can do that, there'll be less of a chance that this could end up being disastrous. It would be a terrible, terrible thing. And hopefully we don't need that to happen in order to wake up. So, all right. So that's what I want to say about this reading. Hopefully this was helpful to you. And I will see you again soon. Like and subscribe. And have a great day. Have a blessed eclipse. Let's put light and love around these women and around the people at the border and all the people suffering because of the heartless way the administration is deciding to run this country at this moment. See you soon. Bye.